Hey guys, welcome back to Magic TV. My name's Craig. It is 9 o'clock. It's 2026. It's a brand new year, and I am here with Jess Howard, and this is the Jess-umentary. Now, if you don't know what the Jess-umentary is, the idea is that for the last couple of months, last few months, I've been working with Jess, and when I started working with her, she had no website, no digital footprint, no nothing. We've slowly built up her digital assets. We've slowly been building up her social proof. And now we're heading into 2026. I feel like what we've done is we've laid the foundations and we've done a good job of laying the foundations. And now we're going to explode in 2026. And I can't wait to see Jess's journey. If you haven't seen the Jess-umentary, please do me a favor, go look at the previous episodes on YouTube. Just go into the Jess-umentary playlist, and you're going to be able to check out all of those. That'll bring you up to date. But without further ado, I'm going to introduce the star of the show, the one and only Jess Howard. How you doing, Jess?
I'm doing great, actually. How are you?
I'm good. Happy 2026.
Happy New Year.
What were you doing in New Year's Eve? Doing anything fun?
No, I was actually ill.
Oh, got it. Really?
Yeah,
Oh no. I normally get really ill in December, but I've managed to survive the illness this December, although I've got a feeling it's going to hit me in January. But
yeah.
I saw the new year in by pushing boxes into a warehouse with Ryland and Thomas
Oh,
Maloney. So, that nothing says
Happy New Year, like pushing boxes.
like pushing boxes into a warehouse, exactly. But new year. So we're going to really, really kind of focus in on hitting all of your goals over the course of 2026. And what I know we've done a lot of work, and what you've done and what you've achieved up until this point is phenomenal with the website and with the digital and social proof and the awards that you've won, and you've been on, the radio, and you've had lots of stuff in the press, and it's all been really good. But 2026 is the year that we really explode. And in order to do that, one of the most important things is goal setting. And we said on the previous episode that we were going to talk about your goals because New Year, setting the goals is really, really important. And I sent you away and I said, have a think about what goals you want to hit. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to spend a lot of time talking about goals. And the reason is, I've worked with many business coaches over the years. Brad Burton, Claire McTerran, and Crosley. None of these names mean anything to you, Doug Dorbury, but they've all worked with me. And different business coaches have different philosophies and different outlooks. But the one thing that all of my business coaches has in common is the importance of setting a goal. And I remember a business coach of mine, Crosley, he actually said, goal setting is so important because it's like, imagine if you were the captain of a ship and you had no final destination. You'd just be going round and round in circles in the middle of the ocean forever, not knowing where to go. And it's the same with running a business. Unless you have a goal, unless you know where you're wanting to go, then you're never going to get there. So having a goal is important. Having long-term goals, short-term goals, medium-term goals. We're gonna break it all down, and we're gonna have a look at everything. We're gonna work out what the goals are, and then you're gonna write them up, and we're gonna be aiming every single time we meet. We're gonna be aiming and pushing towards those goals, and we're gonna say, right, what have we done so far in the last week that's helped us push ourselves towards hitting those goals? So, question first, did you think about any goals that you wanted to
Yes, I
hit?
did.
Right, okay, well let's break these down one at a time. So, what was your first goal?
Let me just find the list.
Okay, I'm good.
I can't actually remember what they are at this point because I did it quite a while ago. Okay, so firstly, I wanted to make and polish, I suppose, a full 45-minute stage show for gigs.
That's a great goal. That's a fantastic goal, especially as you have a good solid start because I know that your YMC act um was really about your love letter to the YMC. It was kind of like a this is what I've achieved and now I say goodbye. But there's no reason why that couldn't be adapted for a stage show. And you saw that at Rugeley, when you did the Rugeley show, you did that act and it brought the house down. Everybody loved it. So I think that having that 10 minutes there as part of a longer show, I think would be, unless you want to do a completely new show from scratch. But I think that moment there was so good. I think that needs to be included in there. What do you think?
Yeah, I'd agree, but then also I think there'd need to be versions of the thing which didn't have quite so much mess,
Well, yeah, that is the problem.
depending on the venue, obviously, because I can't really do five confetti loads in a random like room at a hotel. So
Yeah, yeah.
but I think
Uh,
definitely versions of it.
yeah, definitely versions of it. And obviously, the other thing that you need to consider when you're doing any sort of act is practicality. Excuse me. When you're getting booked a lot of the time, unless you're getting booked for big theatre shows, you don't have the luxury of having wings. You don't have the luxury of having um, like like much space on stage. Excuse me. So, for example, I was doing a show over the Christmas period, and literally, this is how the audience were laid out. There was a band on a stage behind me, so I had to go on the dance floor. I had 100 people to the right of me. I had 100 people to the left of me, all the tables to the left of the right, 50 tables to the left, 50 tables to the right. Five tables to the left, five tables to the right, 10 people on table, 50 here, and two tables in front of me. So, I mean, that's not a great position to be in as a
No.
performer because everybody is literally to the sides. Now, luckily, I've been in that situation more than once. So I was able to go, right, okay, that's not going to work. That's not going to work. Not going to work. But I've got backup, so I know it's not going to work. So we're going to do this, and this. And then it's about playing to the sides and trying to make sure that everyone is getting engaged. But the point is, it doesn't matter how much kind of research you do, it doesn't matter how many tech sheets or technical riders you send to the client, you are always going to find yourself in a situation where you walk into a venue and you just go, well, my act just is not going to work here. This is just
Yeah.
not going to work. So, what do I do to make it work? And the reason I bring that up is because that act is quite angle sensitive, I would say, in terms of,
Yeah.
if there's people directly to the left and to the right, it might not work as well as if everyone was in front of you. So you are right. It's nice having, you know, lots of different things that you can drop in and out depending on how the audience is going to be laid out.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what we can do is we can work on that. So over the course of the next, we can kind of go, right, okay, what material have we got? What can we do? How can we construct this stage show? What do we do if you're in an environment where this isn't going to work? What are you going to do instead? How are you going to replace that? So yeah, that's a great goal though. Great goal. Having a 45-minute show. Rarely will you need to do a 45-minute show. A lot of the time, um, I get booked for an awful lot of corporates and weddings and private parties where I'm doing a show and they'll only want 20 to 30 minutes.
All right.
But having that 45 minutes is useful because it means that you can switch material in and out. So you can go, well, okay, this isn't going to work, this isn't going to work, but this is and this is. And there are times when you have to do 45 minutes. And, if you ever want to do cruise liners and things like that, a lot of the time you need 2 45 minutes. So, yeah, good goal. Great goal. That's something we can
Yeah.
work on. Yeah.
Next one.
Yes, please.
The next one's a little bit vague. It's I want a new 10-minute stage act for competitions, including entering hopefully in the next couple of years the Magic Circle's stage Magician of the Year competition.
Okay, that's good.
It's less business related, but still magic related.
It may be less business related, but only in stuff like you look at Jan Frisch, for example. I was trying to think of a perfect example. Jan Frisch?
I think so.
The guy that makes is it Jan Frisch, the guy that makes the ball? He's kind of doing this thing where he's constantly banging his head and he's got a cup and he's got a ball
Oh
and the
yeah,
ball
I know
keeps
that.
disappearing and going back in the cup and now water's appeared from the cup and that whole thing. I'm pretty sure
Yeah,
it's
I
Jan
don't
Frisch.
know the names, but
Yeah,
I
I'm
remember
pretty
seeing it.
sure
Yeah.
it's Jan Frisch, but I might be wrong. But that guy, at any rate, he put together a competition act. He put together this act, won at FISM, and now he travels the world going to conventions performing this act. A competition act. can literally open up so many doors for you. If it's one of my favorite competition acts of all time is, you've probably not seen it, Soma's phone act.
No.
And if you haven't seen it, and as somebody who I know likes manipulation, write that down and look at it on YouTube. Soma, Soma, Soma's phone act. Just type in Soma's phone act FISM or something like that. It is one of the best acts for stage that I've ever seen. There's this moment where he's reading this newspaper and he's tearing up the newspaper like a torn and restored newspaper. It's tearing it up. And as it's all done to music, but as he's tearing it up and it's gone into little pieces, one of the little pieces drops on the floor and he looks down and he goes to pick it up. And he goes down to pick it up and the music just stops as if time stops. And he li stops in midair in you kind of, the lean illusion. He's
Yeah.
leaning down to pick this bit and he stops in midair. And then music starts going backwards as if time's rewound. And as it
Uh,
does, he comes back up. The little piece levitates up off the floor onto the newspaper, which then opens up and restores. And it's almost like he's reversed time and it's amazing. It's one of the most magical moments that you'll ever see in an act. And whenever somebody says that they're putting a competition act together, I always point them to that point. I always point them to that routine and specifically that moment in that routine. And the reason is, a lot of the time when it comes to winning a competition, it's about having moments that people haven't seen before that they can go and look at and go, well, that's really creative. That's so creative. And that moment right there is one of the most creative moments that I've ever seen. It's taking a classic of magic, which is the torn and restored newspaper, and really just kind of turning it on its head with presentation and technique and just doing something that every magician in the audience and every judge can relate to, but it's been done in a completely different way. But Soma traveled the world doing the phone act. And a lot of magicians do. A lot of magicians will get booked. You'll go and enter a competition. Um, and if you do really well at that competition, you can take that competition act anywhere. Like, yeah, you enter the magic circle, you win the magic circle. You then enter, the IBM and you win the IBM. You enter FISM and you win FISM. And if you manage to do that, well, now you're effectively just on the circuit, just doing this act at gala shows up and down the world, traveling the world. And then that gives you the social proof for your website. So then it's like, well, I've won the Magic Circle of the Year, I've won the World Championships, I've won this, I've won that, I've won the other. And a lot of people that enter FISM, they spent their entire life putting together this one 10-minute act because they know that 10-minute act, if they get it right, it's going to be their ticket to, traveling the world. And so, yeah, you are right insofar that it's not a business goal, but it kind of is because if you do well in a competition, especially at somewhere like the Magic Circle, with an act that's designed to be a competition act, it can open up a lot of doors,
yeah.
a lot of TV doors, a lot of TV producers, a lot of agents will look at you and go, well, that act was amazing. We want to have that act, whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
So very good goal, very good goal. And have you got an idea of how you want that act to look? Are you wanting to lean more into the manipulation side of things, or are
I
you?
think so. More into the definitely to music, or mostly to music, and manipulation. It doesn't have to be manipulation, but I think I'm leaning towards at least some manipulation in it compared to none.
What I loved about your act that you did at the YMC is that I'd never really seen, to the extent that you did it, of quick change and manipulation being done together. I know Solange does some manipulation. Have you seen Solange? Of course you have.
Yeah,
Yeah, she does some manipulation in her quick change act. She's producing the money and stuff like
yeah,
that. But not to the extent that you did, because it was a manipulation act with quick change. It was a quick change act with manipulation, and I think the combination of those two factors is something that you can make very unique to you. I don't think anyone else is doing something like that.
yeah.
Yeah, great, great stuff. Great. Have you been practicing more manipulation techniques?
A bit, yeah. Nothing that's good enough really to show anyone at this point, but I have been, yes, particularly with balls. I
Yeah,
got,
because a lot of the card stuff you were doing was the perfect production, wasn't it? It was the
yeah,
yeah, which is a great production. Um,
and then a bit of I did a bit of the back palm production in one part of the act, but for
oh yeah,
most of it, it was the perfect production. Yeah,
that's great. Were you using manipulation cards or were you using
yeah,
yeah? Yeah, I wouldn't even know where to begin with that stuff, Jess. It's just so insane that you can like palm that many cards and just no idea. No idea. It looks incredible. It really does. Um,
thanks.
okay, cool. So you want to you that's a great goal. That's another great goal and something that you got because yeah, you don't want to make it all about business because at the end of the day you love magic. You know, magic is your hobby, it's your love. So you want to do something that kind of is creatively challenging as well. And
Yeah,
creating a competition act is definitely creatively challenging. Have you considered looking into the Jeff McBride's mystery school?
I don't think so. No.
You know Jeff McBride, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he runs the mystery school. He does online lessons, and it might be worth looking into it because
Okay.
when it comes to where the manipulation that you used, were you? I mean, obviously you were self-taught, but where did you? The techniques did they come from a particular? I know a lot
Yeah,
of people.
I was watching Jeff McBride
Oh, so it's
stuff.
Jeff McBride
Yeah,
stuff. Okay, cool. You might want to look into Eden Choi as well. Do you know Eden Choi?
yeah.
So he's got a bunch of downloads through what's it called? He's got a lot of advanced card magic tutorials, card manipulation tutorials through the online magic store.
Okay,
So if you go on the online magic store and you go on, yeah, you go on the online magic store and type in Eden Choi. He's got some really cool downloads that are quite inexpensive. Might be worthwhile looking at
that's
that.
good.
Yeah,
Thank you.
cool, brilliant. All right, so you got that. That's a great goal. What else we got?
Um, Now in terms of like gigs, I wasn't really sure what to think about the numbers. That was the main thing which kind of I needed your help with. But there was two sort of different ideas I had for
Okay,
being like number of gigs I want each month. Up
okay,
until like June is a lot less than after from July onwards because obviously up until June I'm doing my A levels and I still want to be getting some gigs, but not like every single day sort of amount of gigs. Then so I was thinking maybe four a month sort of until June could be
yeah.
a name. And then July onwards, as many as possible is basically what I'm thinking, but I don't really know what realistically that means.
I mean, look, it very much depends. If you were because you finish school in the summer, don't you? No, or you've
Yeah,
got yeah. This is your final year that you're in right now, right?
yeah,
And the goal is that you want to be in a situation where you finish school and you can turn around and you can say, look, I'm going to try this for a year because this is financially viable because look at the gigs I've got in my calendar.
yeah,
So I think 4 a month, building up that foundation, using that first 6 months of the year to build up the foundation of, like really working on all of your marketing, really working on your SEO, really working on your digital footprint so that like by the middle of the year, everyone's like, "Oh my God, it's you come up in your local area, you come up in the areas around you, so that when people search for a magician, you're the person that comes up, right? Maybe getting
yeah,
you in with agents, and we can go through all of this, but having yourself in a situation where you have a strong digital footprint is very important. In terms of gigs, in terms of the amount, I mean, it varies from month to month. In December, you could literally be out every single night of the week. But let's just say it's when you finish school and if you're doing this full time, an average of 2 or 3 a week,
yeah,
2 or 3 a week, not counting residences. So if you've got like a residency, I'm not counting that. I'm just counting private bookings. So 2 or 3 a week,
yeah,
which is eight to 15 a month. I think that would be really good. On average, you might have months that are less than that, months that are more than that. And then what you can do is you can build up over time. You can get more gigs, or you can increase your fee. We'll talk all about that when you get to that point.
Yeah.
But for now, I think that would be a really good goal, with maybe a residency or two in the background as well, because having a
Yeah.
residency is great, because it's the equivalent. The problem with being self-employed is you're self-employed. What I mean by that is the money you have very much is dependent on the gigs that you do. So you have to make sure that you're continuing to get gigs and you're continuing to put the work in, because if you don't put the work in, you don't get any inquiries, there's no gigs, then there's no money. And effectively, you don't have an income. So you have to constantly be pushing to get more gigs. But if you've got a residency, that almost becomes like a base level. It's almost like having a wage. If you have two residencies that are running in the middle of the week, first of all, it's a great place to work in new material. It's a great place to get reviews, because if you've got a review card that you carry around with you and you're getting people to leave reviews, it's great. But also, it's a fantastic place. So you're working in new material, you're getting reviews, you're giving out your business card to an absolute metric ton of people. All of that is good. But on top of all of that, it's income. If you're charging, I don't know, a couple of £100 for a residency, and you're doing two a week, well, that's £400, £1,600 a month, a couple of £1,000 a month, guaranteed, just because you've got those two residencies in place. It takes the edge off
Yeah.
getting bookings, if that makes sense. Now, there's different ways of doing it. Over time, you might not want to do the residencies. You might want to focus more on, private parties, especially as your fee goes up with more experience and more social proof, and you're getting yourself out there. But at least initially, I think having a couple of residencies when you finish school and you can hit the ground running with those, I think that would be a really good thing to do.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Well, we can work towards that as well. No problem. What
Oh,
else
we
you got?
oh yeah, next one. Um, I can quite tell if it was time for the next one or not. Um,
Well, do you have any questions on that? Like in terms
no,
of no?
yeah.
Yeah, I think that's very, very achievable. I really do.
Those ones were sort of the main ones, but there was one which I had which isn't necessarily this year, but it's something I'd quite like to do at some point. Is have like a cruise ship contract or like a one abroad, like a job abroad, magic related.
That's great. That's great. That's a good goal. There's a lot of people that travel the seas doing magic, and it's not the most difficult thing to get on with. So yeah, cruise ship contracts, international contracts, that typically involves working with agents. So it involved when you work with agents, you want to make sure that you're definitely a bookable commodity. And what I mean by that, which you are, because you've got a very good look. It's very unique anyway, having somebody that's young, that's very, very skilled, that's female, without being too you would present well to an agency anyway, which is great. But a lot of the time, getting cruise work does involve getting in with agencies. A lot of the time, it's going and doing a showcase. Do you know what a showcase is?
No.
Okay, so showcases happen throughout the year, all over the UK. The biggest showcase is called Keeping It Live, which takes place twice a year in the Leicester area. There's one coming up in Blackpool for Viva in February. There's a lot of agents will run their own showcases as well. So effectively, what a showcase is it's normally organized by either an organization or it's organized by an agency. And if you get invited to perform on a showcase, you will be performing maybe a sort of 7 to 10 minute act for everybody in the audience. Here's the thing: the audience is made up of people that are booking entertainment. So it might be made up of holiday park entertainment bookers, cruise ship entertainment bookers, corporate event entertainment bookers, event planners, those sort of people that are booking entertainment regularly for their events. And what will happen is they will be invited to sit in the audience by whoever's organized the showcase, and they will sit there and they will watch and they will have lists of all of the acts that are appearing, and they'll normally have a program of all the acts that are going to be on. And the idea is that they watch and they decide the acts that they like the look of, and those are the acts that they would then go and book for their cruise contracts or whatever the case may be. So um, the downside is if you're doing a showcase, you have to be kind of a bit, you have to be good because the people in the audience are very, very jaded. Doing a showcase is not the easiest thing in the world because the people in the audience have seen everything. They're not there to be entertained. They're there to find new acts to book for whatever it is they're representing. So they're not there to be entertained, and typically they've seen everything. They've seen a million magicians. They've probably been going to showcases for years. So you rock up and you do, I don't know, the vanishing bandana, they'll switch off immediately. They won't be interested. So you have to do something that kind of makes you stand out. So when I did showcases, I did showcases fairly regularly to get work. I would go in with my illusion act because the illusion act that I did was very different because we focused on the comedy interaction between me and Russell, who I did the illusion act with, and we would go in and we'd do sort of comedy illusion. So although they'd seen illusion acts before, they didn't really see it the way that we were presenting it. So that was kind of the unique aspect of what we do. So you have to have an act that is good. Excuse me. There you go. You have to have an act. Sorry, one second. Let me see if I can find a drink. Um, that's better. So you have to have an act that's good, and you have to have an act and you have to be able to perform to a group of people where they're kind of sitting on their hands. There, some showcases are like the worst audiences of all time. Now, if you're doing a silent act to music, that's great because now you don't have to interact with them. But you have to make it, you have to make it really unique. And
Yeah.
and there's certain things about you that are unique anyway, which is great. But I would advise putting a 10-minute sort of showcase act together. If that's a goal of yours, then you definitely want to have a showcase act together that kind of showcases. And what you have to do first of all, Jess, and this is kind of really important, is you have to think about what's unique about you.
Yeah.
So first of all, you have to decide where it is that you want to work. What sort of venue do you want to do holiday parks? Like I spent a couple of years traveling around the UK doing holiday parks. That's great. That's a lot of fun. Do you want to do holiday parks? Do you want to do cruise liners? What is it you want out of this sort of work? And so you need to make sure that the act that you present on the showcase is designed to appeal to that sort of audience, if that kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
So you think about who you are as a character, you think who you are as an act, and then you put this act together that you would present on this showcase. That's doing showcases are really it's a shortcut to getting to where you want to go, rather than kind of making a name for yourself and kind of having people find you. It's almost a way of putting you in front of other people and saying, look, here he is, this is who we have. This is, if you know what I mean. So that's the first way of doing it. The second way, and I don't know if you've ever considered doing something like this, but would be going to fringe shows like the Edinburgh Fringe or the Brighton Fringe or Buxton Fringe, and all the different fringes. Have you considered doing fringe shows? Is that something that you've got on your radar?
Yeah. Potentially, yeah. I'd like to, but I don't know when. Maybe not this year, but it's definitely something I'd consider doing.
Yeah, you have to kind of plan for it. It happens in the summer. The Edinburgh Fringe is the one that everyone goes to.
Yeah.
And you have to plan for it months ahead of time. So you would have to be kind of registered by now to do the Fringe this year. But you could definitely aim to do the Fringe in 2027, for example.
Yeah.
The Fringe is great. So I never did the Edinburgh Fringe, but I did Brighton Fringe. And the Brighton Fringe is what got me my big break because doing a fringe show is really hard work because you have to organize the venue yourself. You have to advertise it yourself. You'll go to fringe festivals and the acts will be flyering, giving out flyers saying, come to my show, come to my show, come to my show, like literally every day. You do guest spots on other people's shows to get people to go, oh, wow, I want to see them. I want to see more of them. You're basically just spending however long you're there working your arse off to promote this show. Um, Now, there's two types of fringes. Let's take Edinburgh Fringe, for example. There's the free fringe and then there's the paid fringe. So with the free fringe, you don't get paid to do the fringe at all. It's people can come in and watch you for free, but you can get tips and you can make a lot of money from tips. I would watch on Magic TV the interview I did with David Ulwick because he does a lot of free fringe shows. No, excuse me, and he makes a lot of money from it. And he talked about that on Magic TV on the interview I did. So have a look at the interview with David Alwick. Um, the other type of fringes that you can do is paid fringes, but you're going to have to pay for the venue. You're going to have to maybe do a ticket split with the venue. You're going to have to pay for the marketing and everything like that. And it's hard work. It's very hard work. But the reason you do a fringe is because it really kind of exposes you to the movers and shakers in this industry. It will really make people sit up and go, oh, especially if you invite people to your show. So when I did the Brighton Fringe, my plan was to do the Brighton Fringe and then do the Edinburgh Fringe. I didn't need to do the Edinburgh Fringe because I got what I wanted out of the Brighton Fringe. I did the Brighton Fringe. I did 2 weeks. I did a run of 2 weeks. I worked my ass off, invited people, sold tickets to the show. The show was decently attended over the course of the 2 week run. But I contacted all of the reviewers. I contacted all of the agents, and I was like, come and see my show. I'm going to give you a free ticket." And we got loads of reviews, which was amazing. We got really good reviews that we could use as social proof. But more importantly, we had agents that came to watch us. And off the back of one of those agents coming, we were offered a holiday park contract. So we were
Yeah.
offered a contract to do holiday parks and that's what we did for the next 2 or 3 years until we stopped doing it. We did holiday parks, and that all came from doing fringe festivals. You look at somebody like Tom Crosby. Don't know if you know Tom Crosby, the performing nerd.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Tom really made a name for himself and continues to do so on fringe festivals. And off the back of that, he's now doing cruise liners and he's traveling around the world, going from one ship to another ship to another ship, kind of, performing very, big stages, doing his act. And that all came around us from fringe festivals. So, yeah, so there's 4 ways of doing it. The first is fringe festivals. The second way is attending showcases. The third way is, just hard, bloody work, just knocking down doors and just like constant. A friend of mine called Tom Mullinger, you probably don't know him. He goes by the name of Jester Styles. You ever heard of Jester Styles?
Potentially. I don't.
Very, very good magician. Very, very, very good magician. Go check out his website, Jester Styles. Go check out his social media.
Okay.
Jester Styles, he said to me once, he said, be so good that they can't ignore you. That's true. Be so good that they can't ignore you. The third way of doing it is just being so good and putting your name out there and working hard and putting out social media content and putting out all this stuff so that people just sit up and pay the attention and they go, wow, she's amazing. We need to book her for this. We need to book her for that. And then the fourth way is Britain's Got Talent, or one of the Got Talent shows, or a big talent competition type thing. Obviously BGT is the biggest one in this country, but there are others as well. Have you ever considered doing that? Is that something that you would do?
Um, I think I would, yeah. I was thinking of doing it a previous year, but then I didn't do it in the end because that was when I assume it's not like a top secret anymore, like it was 3 years ago. But like a few years ago, Russ asked you for some names,
Yeah,
and he,
I
he
put your
got
name forward. Yeah,
yeah, and he got in contact, but then he kind of just got out of contact before the thing. So that was when I was going to do it. If it went through, I would have done it then. But I think I would do it. Yeah.
yeah. Well, I think it would work. I think it would be a really cool story for you to do as well, because I could imagine them pointing out, playing the clip of you being on Ryland's act from years before. It's like, there
Yeah.
she is. It's not the first time that she's been on this stage on this show. Look, she's right there. There she is.
Yeah.
I think it'd be a good full circle moment. I think it would. Yeah. Again, I think that I think that they really love you. In terms of Britain's Got Talent, the best thing to do is to reach out to Russ Stevens,
Yeah.
and just send him a video. Just send him a video of you. Have you got the J Day video yet?
No, not yet.
Good old YMC.
Not got
Um,
not got the Ridgely video either.
oh, good old Magic TV. Oh my God, I can't believe it. It just went on Magic TV. Did you see?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
But you haven't got it. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll kick Michael's ass. He's listening to this. He's editing it. Michael, sort yourself out. I'm sorry. Text me tomorrow.
Thank you.
But yeah. So send him your J Day act.
Yeah.
And just I think I don't work on BGC, so what do I know? But I think that you do really well on there. But you want to kind of do as many things as possible. Just knock down doors is the biggest piece of advice I can give you. Just knock down
Yeah.
doors. Just go out there and just constantly put yourself in a position to be noticed. Put yourself in a position for people to go, "Oh wow, who's that?" Well, that's Jess Howard. Wow, she's amazing. Yeah, I know she's fantastic, isn't she? Um, that's what I do. And knock down doors, and just be so good you can't ignore you. But yeah, in terms of have a look into showcases. The showcase, have a look at, as I say, the UK's largest one is Keeping It Live, I think. Okay, Keeping It Live. That's a good one to do. You have to apply on there. Um, okay, Keeping It Live is an event company that promotes the light entertainment industry through the means of a national showcase. Keeping It Live staged its first national showcase in Blackpool in February 2008 and continues to push the boundaries of professional showcases, highlighting talent from across the UK and abroad. Blackpool 2018 marked their 10th anniversary, doing two shows a year every year, except when they had to close down over lockdown. Blah 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 blah. We are lucky to have one of the best crews in the business who ensure that the show runs smoothly. We're here to help you showcase your act and for the clients to find what they require for their venues. We have a company that takes live photos of your act while they perform, and also another doing video footage. So this really is a one-stop shop. So remember, there is nothing more expensive than a missed opportunity. So you can click and you can apply online. This year's shows, let's see where they are. Have they uploaded it? No, they've still got 2025 shows on at the moment. So they don't have 2026. So I imagine they'll update it at some point. But they had two shows in 2025. They had, well, they had the 3rd of June and the 4th of June, both an afternoon session and an evening session on both days. And they had the 4th of November and the 5th of November, both an afternoon and an evening session. Um, and
Where were they?
they've been running them in Leicester.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, it would be that's the biggest showcase. That's one that I would highly recommend. But in order to do that, you're going to need a showcase act, which I don't think would be hard for you to put together. Um, yeah, and that's something we could work on. Absolutely not a problem. But that's an example. Applying for stuff like Keeping It Live and other showcases. If you Google showcases in the UK, there's going to be a ton of them that come up.
Yeah.
Contacting showcases and getting yourself on there is a way of actually really kind of pushing yourself out there, if that kind of makes sense. So close-up magic becomes your bread and butter. That's what pays the bills, but then you kind of work towards getting these stage shows, and then eventually that will replace what it is that you're doing with close up. My other question is, if you're wanting to be full time immediately, and I don't know what the answer to this is, so I'm going to ask you. Um, would you, because some people either love the idea of this or they hate the idea of this, and there's no in between. Where do you fall when it comes to doing kid shows? Be
Um,
honest, completely honest. There's no point ever doing something if you don't vibe it 100%.
yeah, well, it's definitely the bottom of what I would do, but if I kind of had to, and if I had like a client, for example, who I'd done lots of stuff for before, not that I have, but like in theory, in the future, if I had done like corporate shows for them, and then they said their kid's having a birthday party and they really want me to come and do a short show for them, I would do it then. If it was, I don't think it's something I'd like what's the word, like deliberately advertise to do, but it's not something I'd not do, but I it's not something I would do by choice, particularly.
Yeah, it's something, yeah. So realistically, it's off the table.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely fine. That's why I wanted to ask you the question because some people they absolutely love doing kid shows. Other people they don't. Regardless of whether you do kid shows or not, what you want to do is you want to be in a situation where you can diversify. So, for example, so I set up my business just before 2008. Now, I don't know if 2008 means anything to you. When were you born?
2007.
So you were one. It probably doesn't mean much to you at all. So 2008, we had a massive recession, huge recession. Like it tanked, the economy tanked. And I set up my business just before I set my business up when you were being born. So I like was running my business in one of the worst economies of all time. And I set up my business and everything was going really well with corporates and weddings and so on and so forth. And I was getting quite a lot of work. And then the recession hit and a lot of people were really struggling because corporates weren't wanting to book entertainment. They were looking to save money. They weren't wanting to book entertainment when they were laying staff off left, right, and center. And people were, scared to spend money because they were worried about, you know, financial pressures and worries and so on and so forth. But one thing that I found is that no matter how hard times were, no matter how difficult times were, parents always were wanting to find a way to do a birthday party for their children. They wanted their children to have a birthday party. And I found that kids' magic and being a kid's entertainer pretty much as close as you can get to being recession proof, when it comes to being an entertainer, which was great. So while a lot of my friends were really struggling, that were just focusing on corporates, I was like doing three kid shows a day, every single day. Now, I'm not saying this is not my pitch to get you to become a kids entertainer by any stretch of the imagination. What I'm saying is it's nice to diversify, and it's also nice to be able to. It's also what I'm trying to say here. It's nice to be able to perform on stage with a child and relate to them, or in a close-up gig, being able to relate to a child. And the reason is, I've been to weddings in the past, I've been to events in the past where they've come to me and they've gone, "Oh, you're amazing." And I'm like, "Well, thank you very much." And like, no, and one of the reasons I've said I'm amazing is that, "Oh, I've been at a wedding in the past. There was a wedding last month, and I had a magician, and he ignored the children." And I love the fact that, that there's been kids here, but you've involved them in the performance, and you've not made it about the kids, but you've involved the performance. And you talk about cruise ships. A lot of cruise ships, not all of them at all, but there are cruise ships where it's a family audience, especially the Disney cruise lines and stuff like that. It's a family
Oh
audience
yeah.
and there's kids in the audience. So you want to be able to do something that will appeal to the kids as well as the adults. So, you want to be able to perform something that the adults will enjoy. It's ultimately designed for the adults, but it doesn't switch the kids off, if that makes sense. So, holiday
Yeah.
parks. The reason I did so well at holiday parks, and I still do them occasionally, I was just in Butlins the other day. Um, the reason I did so well at holiday parks is because um, I understood this. So when you do holiday parks, which is by the way really good money, you going from holiday park to holiday park, you're doing it in the week and whatever. Um, with holiday parks, at the end of every holiday park booking, you get appraised by the head ents manager. They fill in a form, and they send it back to the booking agent. And if you haven't got a good review, you could potentially lose the contract. It's the same with a with a cruise liner, to be perfectly honest. You can actually lose the contract if you do a bad job. And they base how well you do on a holiday park on whether the people in the audience have sat there and carried on watching. So
Yeah.
if you aim it so it's too kiddie and you're aiming it at the kids, the problem is the adults get bored and they switch off and they leave, and they take the kids with them. But if it's aimed at the adults and the kids aren't vibing it, they get bored. They're running around acting like little brats, and the parents take them away. So you have to get that balance right when you're doing holiday parks and some cruise liners as well. You have to get that balance right where it's a show that will appeal to the adults, but also the kids enjoy. Does that make sense? So,
Yeah.
but because at the end of the day, a holiday park make a lot of their money from wet sales, which is what I mean by wet sales is the money they make from serving drinks. That's where they make a lot of money. And if people are in the audience, if people are in the venue, they're going to be buying drinks. If they're buying drinks, they're making money. And the holiday park is happy. If everyone's leaving, they're not happy because they're not making any money. And holiday parks like making money.
Yeah.
They're all about making the money, because they're a business, right? So the point I'm trying to make with all of this waffly bollocks is that it's fine to not do kid shows, and that's absolutely fine. And you should only do what you're comfortable doing. You should never try and do something. If you go, I don't like the idea of performing for kids. I don't like the idea of standing in a village hall with 30 kids in front of me and going, hello. Yeah, if that's something that you're not interested in, you absolutely shouldn't do it. You should put your focus into something else. But it is worthwhile learning to be able to perform to children,
Yeah.
so that if you are in a gig and a child comes up on stage, you can make it look like you know what you're doing, or in a close-up job, and you're doing a wedding, you're booked for a wedding. And there's 10 tables, and you've got to get around every single table. And two of the tables are the kids' tables, and you've got to go up and do something for the kids. And it's like, ah, shit, now I'm going to have to do something again.
Yeah.
What am I going to do? You want to try and make it so that you can perform for everybody. Does that make sense?
Yeah. That makes sense.
Cool. Brilliant stuff. Um, yeah. Were there any others? Because we spent a long time talking about that.
Um, Nothing, not anything really big. That was just the only one worth sharing is a show reel. I think that would be definitely good to be able to make at least pretty soon into the year when I've got some
Yes.
footage.
Yes. And we need to get you footage. Now, obviously, you've got the Rugeley footage. However, the thing with show reels is you've only got one chance to make a first impression.
Yeah.
What I mean by that is if your show reel is not good, it will do more harm than good. So if your show reel, for example, let's say somebody's inquiring for a close-up magician, um, who've got a 30th birthday party and they want somebody mingling around for a couple of hours in a venue that they've booked. If you send them a show reel, which is made up of you on stage changing your dress magically and then producing 5 million cards, which is what it felt like I saw produced. I don't know if there were 5 million, but it was like, that's my impression of you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not doing 6, 7. It's like a card production. Um, if if they see a video of that sort of stuff, they're going to look at that show reel and they go, "Oh, she's not who we're looking for. We want someone to
Yeah.
go around the tables doing close-up magic. That's not going to work." Does that make sense? So
Yeah.
realistically, it's best to have two show reels, one for stage and one for close-up. Um, and the other thing is, you want to, again, if possible, you want to try and really kind of hone in on your customer avatar. In other words, what your ideal customer is. What are you going to be pushing for? Is it going to be weddings? Is it going to be corporates? What's it going to be? And the reason that's important is because if you, let's say your thing is weddings, and let's say you want to do a lot of weddings, and then all of the videos in your show reel is you performing to people at a festival outside. I remember seeing a friend of mine did their own show reel I'm going back so long. I'm going back about 20 years ago. And they very, very proudly showed me. They were like, "Oh, I've done a show reel." Oh, great, great. Where did you film it? Oh, just in town. Oh, cool. And I was like, let me show it. Let me see it. And it was a show. They were standing on the car park of McDonald's, and there were these chavs, and they were like, "Oh, it's wicked, mate. It's wicked." And I'm fairly sure they were on crack. I'm not too. Yeah, I'm fairly sure they were. And he thought it was a great show reel because they were going, "Oh my God, it's amazing." I was like, it's not a great show reel because people that are looking at this show reel are going to go, "Well, okay, if we ever have a corporate event on the McDonald's car park and invite a bunch of crackheads, then you're our guy. If not, I think I'm going to be keeping as far away from you as possible."
Yeah.
So you want to try wherever possible to have the footage relatable to the person that is watching the show reel. Because again, it comes back to we haven't really spent too much time talking about sales technique because we need to get into the marketing and the lead gen, and we need to start actually making that website work for us and getting leads come through, and those leads can turn into bookings. But from a sales point of view, um, it's all about painting pictures, Jess. So it's all about, you're painting pictures in the minds of the person that's inquiring. So somebody inquires for a wedding, you want them to see pictures of you at a wedding with people going, "Oh my God, that's amazing." That's what you want to see. You want to see pictures of people losing their mind at a wedding.
Yeah.
Um, if if they're not seeing pictures like that, they might not think that you're the right person to book. You want to have those videos of brides going, "Oh my God, she was the best magician I've ever seen. She's fantastic," stuff like that. So you want to try, and it's not always possible, um, but you want to try and get the footage in your show reel, that sort of footage, ideally, if
Yeah.
possible. But it's not. But definitely have two show reels. Have one for stage, have one for close up. Because the thing that will kill it is if you're looking for a stage act and then you see a video of you going around doing close up magic at a table, that's not selling you at all.
Yeah.
Likewise, if you are looking to book a close-up magician and there's a video of you on stage going, "Yeah," that's not selling you at all. It's doing more harm than good. So have two show reels or have one show reel that kind of covers everything and just make it very clear and say, "Jess does close-up magic and stage shows. Here's her show reel that shows some of the magic that she does," or something like that. But even then, it's better to have specific show reels if it's all possible.
Yeah.
Make sense?
Yeah.
But you need to, I mean, and making a goal is great, but the most important thing is following through with that goal. So
Yeah.
making a goal is great. And next week we'll kind of follow through on some of this stuff. But right now, I think the most easily achievable goal, we need to keep doing stuff on the website, and we'll talk more about that next week. Uh, but you are right. One of the most important things that we need to do right now, or as soon as possible, is get that show reel sorted. Because not having a good show reel on your site is causing problems.
Yeah.
I guarantee you, Jess, that there are people that are finding your website, that are going onto your website, and they're not seeing a show reel, or they're seeing, something else, and they're going, "No," because if they're looking at four or five magicians in your area, and the other four have a show reel and you don't, they've got nothing that they compare it against. So I think it's holding you back a bit. So I think one of the most important things is we get a show reel sorted as soon as possible. So I want you to think about where you can go and get footage for close up. Like I said to you in the past, it could be you organize a party for you go, find a charity event that's running in January. Go online and search for, charity events and ring them up and just say to them, "Hey, my name's Jess. You might have heard me on the radio. I am an award-winning magician, and I would like to come to your event for free because I really believe in your charity, and I would like to come and get footage for my show reel." Or just say, "Hey, look, I'm Jess. I'm 18 years old. I'm a magician. I've been performing for many, many years. I've won some awards at the Magic Circle. I'm quite good, but I'm wanting to become a full-time magician when I finish school, and I need a show reel. I'd love to come along to your event and offer you my services for free, and in return, I'm just going to have someone videoing me. Would that be okay?" And you ask enough people, and someone will say yes. If you're just very honest and very truthful, and that's all you say, just say, "Hey, I'm 18. I want to be a professional magician when I finish school. I know I need a show reel. Can you help me, please? I'd like to come along and perform for you for free." It's a numbers game. It's a little bit like sales. It's a numbers game. The more people you speak to and ask this, the more that will say yes.
Yeah.
But you need to get the right environment. You want to get a chat. The reason I'm saying charity events is one, they're always looking for handouts, but two, as well, they're always looking for something for free. So you offer them something for free or in return for something else that doesn't involve money, they're all ears. But two, typically at charity events, people are dressed up. People are in a shirt and a tie. They're not
Oh yeah.
crackheads on a McDonald's car park. So, um, which is important. So I would say, for next week or next time we meet, next time we're going to really kind of delve deep into making these goals work. And we're going to talk about initially getting that number so that when you finish school, you've got a comfortable amount of gigs in your diary and you can go, wow, look at this. This is amazing, right? And the
Yeah.
stuff that we need to do to make that happen, and we can delve deep on that. But the most important thing and the thing that's holding it back a little bit is getting the show reel. So for next time that we meet, I would love you to see if you can figure out, contact some charities, reach out to people, speak to your friends, get your mom, get relatives. Say, hey, do you know anybody who's organizing events? I would love to speak to them because I would like to come and perform there for free. Do you know anybody? You're not a million miles away from Smoke and Mirrors in
Yeah.
Bristol. I can speak to Mark Bennett, or now you're in the magic circle, you speak to Mark Bennett. Contact Mark Bennett. He is known for helping magicians. That's what he does. He's an absolute diamond. You're not a million miles away from Mark Bennett. Contact him and just be honest and be truthful and just he's on the council of the Magic Circle, Mark is. So
Oh yeah.
be honest and just say to him, look, Mark, Craig Petty suggested I call you. Um, I've just joined the Magic Circle. I've been in the YMC for years. I'm 18 years old. I've just joined the Magic Circle. I actually at J Day I just won third place in the stage competition. I also won Mentor of the Year. I'm working with Craig, and I want to be a full-time professional magician. And Craig said I need a show reel. I would love to come in your bar and perform magic, perform close-up magic. I'm really good. He'll probably ask you to maybe jump on Zoom and show him a trick or something because it's his business at the end of the day. But if you can
Yeah.
get to Smoke and Mirrors and you can get him to say yes, I will come along and I will film you at Smoke and Mirrors and then we'll put the show reel together. I can speak to
Sounds
him if
good.
you want, but try and connect with him yourself. I think it'll be better coming from
Yeah.
you. And just say to Mark is a lovely man, despite what you've heard. He is a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful human being, and he will help anybody. And there are people in this industry, there are people in this community that owe their entire careers to Mark Bennett. And what's nice is he has the Smoke and Mirrors venue. It's not a million miles away from you, and you can go in and you can do 4 hours of close-up magic, and I can just go and film you. And those people in that bar are there to see magic. They're waiting to go in to see the show and they're just hanging out, waiting to see a magic show. They're very receptive. It's why I film a lot of my trailers there because it's a really great venue to get great reaction footage from.
Yeah.
Contact
Okay.
Mark Bennett. Contact a
Yeah.
few other places, but Mark would be the person that I think could help you immediately because we could be there in a week's time or 2 weeks' time, and tell him just that this is a chance for you to sell yourself. I'm bloody awesome, Mark. I'm very, very good.
Okay.
Check out my social media.
What do you think's the best way to contact him? Like Facebook,
I would
Instagram?
contact him on Facebook.
Okay.
He's quite a bit. A lot of the time, I use Facebook to contact him,
Okay.
and just send him a message on Facebook. You're in the Magic
Okay.
Circle now. Have you joined the Magic Circle Facebook group?
No, I tried to find it, but it's just I can't find it on Facebook anywhere.
It's members of the Magic. Hang on.
Like I can find the one you can just follow on Facebook, but I can't actually find.
No, yes, that's not the one.
Yeah.
It's called Members of the Magic Circle. Members of the Magic Circle. Doo da doo da. Members of the Magic Circle. Doo da doo da day. Hmm. Okay. I don't have much signal at the moment, but what I'll do is I will invite you on there. I'll
Oh,
uh,
that's
I'll invite you. Hang on, let me see if here we go. Invite. What are you on Facebook? Jess Howard? Or was it
Jess
Jess
Howard.
Howard?
Jess Howard, I think.
Jess Howard. Is your profile picture looks like a bit of a beach?
Yeah.
Okay, I've just sent you an invitation.
I've not got. Oh, yes, I've got it. Let me do that before I disappear. Oh, you need to answer questions. I'll do that.
Yeah, so answer the questions. You need to prove you'll
Yeah.
probably have to put your membership number and stuff in, prove that you're a member of the Magic Circle. Um, and then when
Okay.
you're in the Magic Circle, you could even ask questions in there. You could even say, hey, where you might be able to go to the Magic Circle. They do close. Now you're in the Magic Circle, Jess. They
Yeah.
do close-up nights on a Thursday, I think it is, that you can actually go and perform at for you don't really get paid for it. I think you get like a fee for your travel, but you can go along and you can perform at the Magic Circle on these nights, and that you can be one of they do close-up nights at the Magic Circle. And you can go and
Oh, yeah.
perform there, and you can take somebody to film the whole thing for you. That'd be great. Having some close, and it's set up like a bit of a parlor performance. I've done a few of those in the past. They're really good. You might be able to get involved with that as well. Um, but definitely join the Magic Circle, and then sorry, join the members group, and then send a message to Mark Bennett and just introduce
Okay.
yourself. Tell him I told you to contact him. Say you're working with me, and he's probably aware of you because he watches Magic TV, so he might even be aware of the Jess-umentary. In fact, before you contact him, he might see this episode. I don't know. In fact, he might reach out to you. But if not, reach out to him and just arrange. Smoke and Mirrors is the place to go. You're not far from Bristol, so
Yeah.
you can get there relatively easy. I bet it's just one train up there for you.
Yeah, one train.
Yeah, and so you can get to Bristol and then just ask Mark. Mark is all about helping people. He really is. That's his whole mantra in life. So
Okay.
do that.
Thank you.
Okay?
Yeah.
So do that, and then next time we're going to start really getting deep, and hopefully we'll be able to find a time to go, maybe even this month, somewhere and film the show reel, and then we can get a proper show reel edited for you. We can get that on the
Yeah.
website, and then we're really making progress.
Okay.
Awesome. Any other
That sounds
questions for
good.
me?
I don't think so, no.
That's it. You are amazing. Contact Mark Bennett, answer those questions. Think about how you want the show reel. Think about what tricks you're going to do in the show reel. Think about you want it. That's the other thing I want you to do. Think about what tricks you're going to do in the show reel. You want to do the tricks that get the "oh my God" reactions, because that's what we're looking
Yeah.
for. We're not looking for full performances. We're looking for moments that make people freak out.
How
Why
many
do
sort
people?
of
Hmm?
how many sort of tricks would you recommend like
You want a variety. You
range?
don't want it to look like you're doing the same trick over and over again. So you don't want it to be all cards, unless you're a card magician, in which case that leans into it. But the more random stuff that you can have, then the better the show reel's going to be. But the most important thing is make it only use the tricks that you know are going to get a really good reaction. So make a
Okay.
list of those tricks that you know when you perform it, you're going to get a really good reaction from audience members.
Okay.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Amazing. Guys, thank you so much for watching the Jess-umentary. Let Jess know what you think in the comments down below. And most importantly, you want to see more of these, subscribe to the channel, like the video, go and check out the Jess-umentary in the archives on the playlist, the Jess-umentary. And I will see you again soon. Jess will see you again soon. Thank you so much for watching. My name's Craig. This is Jess Howard, and you have been watching the Jess-umentary.